Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome students. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I am going to deliver a lecture on very important topic regarding 11th class biology, that is biological classification. I have already told you that classification is the systematic arrangement or ordering of living organisms into different groups on the basis of their affinities or relationships. Since there are huge number of living organisms in this world, and it is not possible to study each and every organism at individual level. That's why different scientists from time to time they give different criteria so as to classify these organisms on the basis of affinities, on the basis of similarities, on the basis of relationships into number of groups so as to make their study easy and convenient. I have already told you that there are 1.7 to 1.8 million species of organisms which are already described and named by different biologists of the world. And out of 1.7 to 1.8 million species, 1.2 million species belongs to animals, while as 0.5 million species belongs to plant groups. And scientists also believe that there may be 5 to 30 million species in this world, which ranges from microorganisms that we can't see with our naked eyes to large gigantic trees. And in order to make their study easy and convenient, different scientists gave different criteria so as to classify these organisms. And it is the inherent capability or ability of an organism to classify things into different categories. If we make the books random in a room, anybody come to this room who will arrange his books on the basis of their similarities. That's why it's an inherent potential ability of an organism, especially human beings, who are remembered as Ashraful Makhlukat. And today I am going to deliver a lecture on classification of living organisms, that is biological classification. Biological classification. Right from Aristotle to modern system, every scientist or biologist tried to classify organisms into different groups. For example, Aristotle, who gave a simple classification of living organisms, at that time on the basis of morphological characters, on the basis of morphological characters. Like in case of plants, he divides plants into three groups: trees, then shrubs and herbs. Similarly, in case of animals, Aristotle also divides animals into two groups. One group having red blood, another group which is non-red, which is not a red. That is on the basis of color of their blood. This is on the basis of their habit, or you can say form or texture. This was a simple classification proposed by Aristotle. Then it is followed by another scientist whose name is Cornelius Linnaeus, Linnaeus, Cornelius Linnaeus. I have already told you that he is remembered as father of taxonomy and systematics. He gave another classification for the classification of living organisms. He gave a classification called as two-kingdom system. Two-kingdom system. Also called as two-kingdom classification. He proposed this classification on the basis of certain criteria. That means living organisms, I write here like this: living organisms living world is divided into two major kingdoms. Is divided into two major kingdoms. One is called as Kingdom Plantae. One is called as Kingdom Plantae, which includes all plants. All plants. And second kingdom, that is Kingdom Animalia. That is Kingdom Animalia. This kingdom includes all animals. And this system was based on four major criteria. This system was based on four major criteria. First criteria is presence or absence of cell wall. Presence or absence of cell wall. This is the first diagnostic feature by which living organisms are divided into two kingdoms, or you can simply write cell wall, on the basis of cell wall. And second criteria is, that is mode of nutrition. Mode of nutrition. How they obtain their nutrition. Third one is on the basis of growth. And fourth criteria that is on the basis of locomotion, or we can say on the basis of movement. And on the basis of these four criteria, kingdom Plantae, in this first criteria you have cell wall is present. Cell wall present. And in case of animals, kingdom animal, cell wall absent. Cell wall absent. And second mode of nutrition. In case of plants, it shows autotrophic mode of nutrition. Autotrophic mode of nutrition. And in case of animals, they show heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Heterotrophic mode of nutrition. And third point you have, in case of growth, plants show unlimited growth. Unlimited growth. Due to presence of apical meristem. Due to presence of meristematic tissue at the apices of roots and shoots. And in case of animal kingdom, it is having limited growth or definite growth. And fourth criteria in this case is, in case of kingdom Plantae, it show they are non-locomotive. They are non-locomotive. They can't move because they don't have well-developed muscular system. But in case of kingdom Animalia, they are locomotive. They show movement due to presence of well-developed muscular system. This is about the two kingdom classification that was proposed by Carolus Linnaeus. Since this classification, with the discovery of new organisms, and in case of kingdom Plantae, some organisms like you have fungi, you have protists, you have monerans like bacteria, they show some characters which are not sharing with plants. They show some characters which are not included in kingdom Plantae. That's why, for example, we have an organism called as Euglena. Euglena is a unicellular protist. It is a unicellular protist. And this Euglena is having a locomotory organ in the form of flagella. It is having a locomotory organ in the form of flagella. That means it is locomotive. That's why, according to two kingdom classification, it should be placed in kingdom Animalia, but it has also chloroplast. It is also chloroplast, and with the help of chloroplast, it can synthesize its own food and show autotrophic mode of nutrition. And on the basis of presence of chloroplast, it should be in the kingdom Plantae. And on the basis of presence of locomotory organ flagella, it should be present in this kingdom Animalia. That means Euglena shows some animal-like characters and some plant-like characters. That's why it becomes exception, it becomes limitations for two kingdom classification. Similarly, you have another organism called as Chlamydomonas. CHLAMY, Chlamydo, DOMONAS. Chlamydomonas, another organism, is having the shape just like the Euglena, but instead of one flagella, it has two locomotory flagellas, two locomotory organs in the form of flagella, and also has chloroplast. That's why Chlamydomonas also become exception to kingdom classification. Third organism we have slime molds. It's a group of organisms, slime molds. These slime molds, when they are vegetative phase, when they are young, when they are in vegetative phase, they don't have cell wall, lacking cell wall, and absorb nutrition through their general body wall, general body surface, absorptive mode. But when they mature, they develop cell wall. That means at vegetative phase, cell wall is absent, lacking cell wall, and when they mature, they develop cell wall. That's why this character, lacking cell wall, it is just like it is character of kingdom Animalia. That means this character is sharing with kingdom Animalia, and then development of cell wall at maturity, this character is shared by kingdom Plantae. That it has some plant-like characters and some animal-like characters. That's why these three organisms, slime molds, Chlamydomonas and Euglenias, and other some organisms also show this type of pattern. That's why this two kingdom classification is not adequate and is replaced by another classification that's called as five kingdom system. That's called as five kingdom system. That's called as five kingdom system or five kingdom classification. Inshallah, in the next lecture, we are going to talk about five kingdom classification proposed by R. H. Whitaker in 1969.